Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion in the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I have spelled it out here. Here, I'll discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So, let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Eight of Cups. And it is here because it corresponds in astrology with the first 10 days or the first decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Pisces. So Pisces is a water sign. Cups in tarot represent water element symbolism. And water element symbolism has to do with our emotional life, our intuitive life, even our body's life, how things feel to us. So when you have an experience, there's a physical sensation that arises, there's certain knowing or questions that arise with that experience, and that's what the cups are all about. So here we have the Eight of Cups, and we see somebody walking away, right? And I like this card. You know, it's sort of dark in general. You've got the moon sort of shining brightly up here. It almost looks like an eclipse or something, but you see the look on the moon's face. It's a little bit disappointed looking, right? So it really points to a sense of disappointment that we've had. Cups are very much emotional. They're about emotional investments we make of love, of kind regard, of enthusiasm for certain things. And so, what we have here is a situation where we made some investment of our love, some investment of our kind regard, our enthusiasm, our joy, our desire for a situation or for a relationship to work. And then, what we found there after making that investment was disappointment. We weren't getting the reciprocity we needed. We weren't getting the sort of give and take. We weren't seeing the return on our emotional investment that we would like to have seen. So we, feel that disappointment. We feel it as a loss of ourselves. We gave of ourselves and there's nothing coming back, right? So reflecting on that, we choose to just leave the situation behind. We have to abandon the investment that we made. And with that, again, we feel like we've lost a part of ourselves. But we understand that we always have more love, kind regard, enthusiasm, joy, feeling to invest in new situations. So if you find yourself in a situation, whether it's a relationship with a person, a place or thing, whatever it is, if you find yourself giving to a situation that isn't giving back, and you feel that disappointment and you feel that sense of loss, but you see that it's not going anywhere, it's okay to leave that a situation behind. And of course, you're going to feel a little bit disappointed and sad. You're going to feel that sense of loss for sure. But in the long run, the way to seek satisfaction is not to stick around. And we see that, so we move on. And with that said, I'm going to turn this card over. I got the Page of Wands. Okay, so Wands are fire element symbolism. That has to do with our spark, our drive, our joy, our determination, our forward motion. Wands are very much about the actions that we're going to take and sort of the feelings that drive those actions, sort of restlessness, impatience. There's impetuousness, which is this sort of drive to get something done regardless of the consequences, right? So, there can also just be a lot of, like I said, joy and determination. There's that spark that makes us want to get moving. So the Page of Wands is a youthful figure. This is a person who sort of knows how to use the tool they're best acquainted with. In this case, that would be that drive, that spark, that desire to get moving and to make conquest, to be able to mark your accomplishments, right? And this person has not very many accomplishments under their belts. They have more enthusiasm than they have experience. So what they lack in experience, they make up for in, that desire to go out there and get it done, right? This is a good place to be. It's a little bit like being the Fool in that, we're making a fresh start here. and that we lack experience. We may not see everything that is coming ahead. Although with wands, I always get a little feeling of sort of prescience, of being able to see into the future, because there's just such a forward-thinking thought process that, we see our goals and we move toward them, and we can sort of know what to expect in terms of obstacles or benefits along the way. So here we have the Page of Wands, this youthful figure wanting to get out and make a start of some sort of conquest, to achieve some things in the world, maybe having some great ideas, maybe not having a lot of experience, but really being ready to go. And really having a good sense of how to use this sense of drive and spark and enthusiasm. So where do we see this on the page? Well, I'm brought back, of course, to the sun moving on into Pisces. That was the Fool yesterday, the sun's first day first full day in Pisces, reminded me very much of the Fool, sort of just being willing to jump off the cliff and moving into the new experience. The Page of Wands is very much like that as well. But let's take a look at what other things are happening in the fire signs right now. Venus, for instance, moved on into Aries late last night or early this morning. So it's sitting here at 0 degrees of Aries now. It's going to keep moving in this direction. And Venus is our planet. It's our personal planet that holds in regard those things that we like, love, and can't get enough of. Whatever it is that you seek to draw to you, whether that is attention, esteem, acclaim, whether it is stuff and things. We like riches, we like gold, we like gadgets and gear, we like, relationships, friendships, love relationships, whatever it is that you seek to draw into your life, good fortune, that kind of stuff. The stuff that you want to attract, that you'd like to see coming your way. That's what Venus is all about. And sort of how we behave in order to attract it. And, Venus in Aries then is sort of not in its most powerful sign. Venus was just in Neptune. It's exalted in Neptune. So, our love lives and our ability to connect and to assess our investments, both in relationships and in sort of financial things, was really wide open and imaginative, and we were very capable of just sort of feeling that connection and drawing things in. Whereas Venus in Aries is a little bit more out of its element, so to speak, because Venus is about receiving and Aries is about asserting, right? Mars rules Aries, so Venus is sort of like in the binary partner's home sign, right? It's like going to your in-laws' house, right? And if you're one of those people who's a little more, I would say kind of passive, but really just more open and receptive and inviting, and your partner's family were more the kind of people who just sort of blunder forward and get what they want without trying to invite it in, then that's sort of the vibe that you find yourself in, like, oh, I'm going to have to adjust a little bit. But what happens is that receptive part of ourselves becomes a little more courageous and a little more willing to act, rather than just to sit back and try to receive, or to sort of contemplate different ways to pull things in. Venus in Aries is more likely to say, hey, this is what I want. You are what I want. This is what I'm interested in. And hey, why don't we try to make that happen? Right? So, a little bit inexperienced with the Aries stuff Venus is. That gives me very Page of Wands vibes. It's just moving into Aries, so just getting started, right? And not really, of course, Venus goes through Aries every year, and of course, Venus deals with Mars on a regular basis, right? Again, this is the binary partnership. One is receptive, one is assertive. So there's a little bit of a learning curve here, but also not complete lack of familiarity with the idea of being assertive, with the idea of just being bold and courageous and going after what it is that you want. Venus in Aries is going to have fewer questions about, whether they can have what they're looking for, whether they qualify to get what they want. They're going to be a lot more bold and just say, no, this is what I want, and we're going to try to make it happen. I love that vibe, Venus in Aries, personally, because that's my Venus placement, Venus in Aries. I've always been that kind of person, you know, especially in romance, but also just when it comes to those things that I like, love, and can't get enough of, to say, hey, I want that. Let's go get it. You know, hey, I want that. I wonder if I can get it to join me. Hey, I like this person. I wonder if I can get them to spend some time with me. So, if you are generally a more Venus style person, and I guess I'm talking mainly to Taurus and Libra, heavily Taurus and Libra influenced people, where, you know, you're more likely to sort of sit back and contemplate and think about and act in ways that hopefully will draw in the things that you like, love, and can't get enough of. Perhaps you're going to feel a little vibe now where it feels more comfortable to stand up and take action and go after the things you desire. Taken together with the Eight of Cups. So it's interesting to me that both of these people are carrying a staff, right? So we do have the Eight of Wands sort of posing as the Eight of Cups, sort of posing as a Page of Wands, like saying, this thing back here was not very satisfactory to me, and I'm willing to take up this staff and make a new start, right? So definitely with the Eight of Cups always comes this idea that we're beginning something new. We may not necessarily know what direction we're going in. We're probably walking away from something that we have experience with, and so we might be putting ourselves in a less experienced, you know, sort of mode of being, place, time frame, group of people, whatever that is. But we're walking away from something that we have a lot of experience with, and we're saying, you know, like, I gave 8 whole cups of personal investment to this situation, and I am still disappointed. I'm dissatisfied. I'm not getting the reciprocity I need, right? And so it takes courage, Page of Wands. It takes a certain amount of courage, and self-honesty and honesty with other people too. That's another thing that comes up with the fire signs, is this ability to be really bluntly honest about our own situation with ourselves, and to be bluntly honest about circumstances in general and the way that we see them, okay? So being able to look at something and saying, this isn't satisfying, and there's no way I can get it back, and I'm definitely going to mourn the loss, but I'm also definitely just going to turn my back, walk away, feel my disappointment, and hopefully translate the desire for something better, you know, taking that courage that it took to walk away and feeling that desire for something better, to go ahead and use that courage to move in the direction of something that may seem more satisfactory. And again, we might not know what it is. We may not know exactly what we're doing with all this drive and enthusiasm. Often we don't know what it is that we want so much as we know what it is that we don't want any more of, right? Often how we find out who we are in the world is first by finding out what doesn't represent us, who we are not in the world, right? So, you know, having had this experience and saying, oh, I thought this was me, but it really wasn't me, and I'm gonna leave it behind now. Now we get to sort of take a fresh step, look at and take a fresh perspective on our own lives, be a little courageous and honest with ourselves, and say, you know, okay, well, from here on in, then I get to decide who I am gonna be. Know what I do invest in, and what I do show enthusiasm for. And even if I don't know what that is going forward, I know what it is not any longer. And that's a step in the right direction, friends. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about it today. I so appreciate you for joining me. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.